I probably got started the same as most people, through playing in bands, and I started recording my own bands, and just on like a kind of cheap little old Behringer mixer, um, and then from there I started working with other people, just doing lots of free demos and things like that, and started my first studio, and kind of went from there. I don't think there's really like a best or an ideal, but to me, I think, especially with people beginning to record a lot at home, with all of that technology available to them, they get so used to being at home, and in their own space and being comfortable, that when they go to a studio, it's a little overwhelming sometimes. And so, the reason that I've come back home to build a studio is just to create that kind of feel and take away a bit of the fear of having the red light on, and have it a little bit more comfortable for people. It's kind of more of just like something that sets it apart from other studios. It's more of a character that it imparts, on my studio. Um, it also, it's kind of like, it's pretty cool. I mean, it smells like a sauna, which is good. The actual timber itself is similar to the timber that they use on the top of nylon string guitars, so it actually has a sonic effect as well. So totally, I think just having been through it myself, um, I think a lot of people put too much pressure on themselves when they come into the studio, whether it's of their own doing or not. If they come in too underprepared, or if they come in too kind of tight, and trying to be too perfect, I suppose. I basically have a blend, so it's a hybrid setup. So I use Pro Tools, as my tape machine, and then when I'm mixing, I have a summing mixer, which means that I'm using the analog domain to do my mix, and for all the tracks to come together. And so yeah, it's a blend of the two, of digital and analog. Well, instrumentation wise, I love my Mellotron. It's a digital Mellotron, but these days there's so many keyboards and synths, and you get one and it might sound awesome, but you might only get four patches out of the 300 that are on there that are actually like reliably good. Whereas on the Mellotron, it's kind of like every sound is great, and yeah, it's super usable. So it's a bit of a thing that we pull out for fun during most sessions. And yeah, it's awesome. My Abbey Road gear, I'm a big Pink Floyd and Beatles fan. They recreate the same parts of desks and compressors and EQs as they did back in the day from Abbey Road. So I've spent like a lot of time collecting my gear. I've definitely gone for the kind of less is more approach, and kind of put the money into things that I think are a really special piece of gear. Like, I love the history around recording and the equipment, and so yeah, my Abbey Road gear is probably my favourite thing to work with from my side. Probably the biggest two things are streaming, um, and the ability to record at home. They're like the two biggest factors that have affected me, both as playing in a band and also working in the studio. And I don't think that they're necessarily bad things at all. Like, I think streaming's great. It'd be good if there was another. It's cool that it's bringing vinyl back more. Yeah, recording at home. It's kind of good and bad, in different ways. I think like it allows people to get their ideas down more and kind of progress their music, because you can work on it all the time. And I do a lot of stuff these days where I'll have people bring in music that they've recorded at home, and I can use, say, you know, whatever it may be, 50%, 60%, 20%, and kind of run it through the analog gear and then record the rest, you know, redo the things we need to redo. And it also opens up different ways of working with artists, you know, like because so many people are recording at home, there's a lot more mixing work and doing the final stages of the process. So, yeah. Still the same reasons why you would have ever gone to a studio, which is for the experience and the equipment and the rooms. I think it's not for everyone, but I think that it still has its value, especially as having a producer, you know, an extra member essentially in the creative process that can give a different take on it and kind of see it a little overall big picture, and also just to kind of guide through the process, and then on the sonic side, you know, having a really good room and good mics, good pre's, it all kind of adds up. You know, each channel adds up, and if you do it all well and professionally, it makes a big difference overall. I've worked on some really cool songs. I really love Carmageddon by Abby May. That was one of the first tracks I did at my new studio. And that was kind of like great because of how it came about. It was like she was super sick and tired, and when she came into the studio she had like a really gravelly voice, and we didn't think we were going to get anything done, and then she ended up singing the song just in the control room with me on a 57, and that ended up being, you know, like as soon as she did it, I was kind of like, well, I think that's it, you know, and that ended up being the vocals on the track. And so that one's kind of special for me just because it was a real spontaneous thing, and you kind of felt like it was a great take and a great song as soon as it kind of came together. Beardwives Denim by Pond, we did on a farm down in Eagle Bay, and just the kind of nature of that record, like you feel like you're in the room with everyone, and it's kind of really free-flowing and fun. There's a lot of like new bands coming through that I've worked with that I'm really excited about. I think Capano is really good. She's got like a really big future, I think, and she's only 20, I think, which is pretty amazing that she's done what she has so far. The Spring Peaks are another band that are coming through that I've done a few tracks with, and yeah, I think they've got an album coming soon, and I feel like they're going to be really good as well.